No, I close this. Yeah. Okay. Now let's move on. So it's a discussion. Discussion you can have in Padlet for sure. Yeah. You can have another thing, but three-sided is good because it's a low bandwidth. Yeah. So asking and answering questions to other learners and argument, exchanging ideas and so on. You can use others here. I put Padlet and back channeling and so on. Flipgrid is high bandwidth. I will suggest three-sided. Explore that. Yeah. Okay, practice the learner respond to a particular task and use feedback. Usually, I use a voice spice. How many of you familiar with voice spice? Can you respond in the chat box, please? Yes or no? Voice spice is good for speaking activity. A lot of teachers looking for apps that's good for speaking activity. Voice Spice is good for speaking activities. You give a task in the Voice Spice, then they will answer that using their voice, and it's going to be recorded in the cloud, and you can listen to your students' pronunciation and so on afterward, or their presentation. Yeah, it's go to voicespice.com. Yeah, I will not demo it here because we'll need time. Yeah, and also doesn't need an account. Student do not need to have an account. Yang kadang-kadang malesin itu aplikasinya siswanya harus punya akun, agak ribet. Ya, three-sided, the students do not need any account. Voice Spice do not need any account. Padlet, the students doesn't have to have an account. So I think that's quite appropriate for our situation here in Indonesia. Yeah. Okay, collaboration. Collaboration, usually I'm using Google Docs. But if you're looking for something more complex, if you have a project and so on, you can you can go to Trello. Yeah, I put the link in my presentation here, and then later you can go to the link and explore that. That's for business, but it's also good for education. Again, Google Docs, I think that's enough for collaboration. Yeah, and I think most of you familiar with, or all of you familiar with Google Docs and how to do collaboration or teamwork. Yeah. Now, how many of you familiar with Canva? Put that in the chat box, please. Familiar with Canva? Familiar? Yes, 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 yes. Very good. So you can ask your students a project using Canva. There are a lot of things. Now Canva, you can have a collaborative work as well. Yeah, they can use the same frame to work together. Yeah. So I put it there, put a tutorial, some of you familiar. Yeah, good. There are a lot of worksheets that you can use. There are many purposes, just explore that. That's even for presentation. I'm doing my presentation right now is using Canva. That's why later on you can access this online, so it's easier rather than I distributing the PDF or the PowerPoint. Yeah. Production. Yeah, Screencast-O-Matic, Canva, Padlet, so that the students can work, produce something, then put that into a display. Yeah, usually the display I put that in a Padlet. Yeah, I use Screencast-O-Matic a lot to create a video, but now I'm using Zoom to create my video lecture. I don't need other Screencastify or Screencast-O-Matic. Yeah. Okay, that's a production. So the students should produce something. So think about that, and do not assign your students to have a very complex or complicated video that's require a lot of apps. then the students will spend much time playing with the apps, but not playing with the content. Yeah, so put that in mind. So what I think first is the learning objective. Then I put that in a learning types. Oh yeah, to achieve this objective, they need to do inquiry, for example. Or they have to do a discussion. So I design my activities, just discussion and inquiry. Then I put the activities. Then I'm thinking of the technology. When I think of the technology, then I'm thinking of my students. Do they have enough quota? How long should they spend to achieve the objective? Should I slice this or should I just put in one go? Yeah. So should I ask them to share the mobile phone, for example, in doing the task, or individual? So I'm thinking things like that. Yeah. So thinking of the technology is the last things to do later. Yeah, not the technology first. Okay. Now, so if you're new to blended learning, you do not need to worry so much about that, because you do not need to renovate your entire course. You can have a look at the objective of your course, then look at learning types. Which one are you going to use? Just practice, or a little bit acquisition, 5 minutes watching video, then practice, or 5 minutes acquisition through reading text and then collaboration, and then the production. Yeah, maybe. So you take up 1 or 2 learning types, make it bite size. Itu yang kadang-kadang lupa. Jadi siswanya merasa kok tugas kok berat untuk blended. No, make it bite size. Make it 10 minutes, 15 minutes, that they will take their time. Yeah. So you can remap the design using 6 learning types, and then reconstruct the flow. Itu aja sih. Make it bite size and then reconstruct the flow. That thing of you spend 2 hours in front of the class, then you can slice it. Maybe I just have a synchronous for 10 minutes, then they do other things. Yeah, discussion or practice and so on. Okay. Now, an example that I'm going to give you later is blended learning that I designed. You can have a look at it later. I'm going to show you in a minute. Yeah, but the learning objective is students should be able to write a paragraph after a reading text. In a face-to-face condition, that's need around 4 meetings. That's to credit for my undergraduate students, non-English department. Yeah, then when I plan that, that's become longer in the design, but they can choose their own time. So the learning types, I'm going to give acquisition. I ask them inquiry to work with the artificial intelligence, and they practice a lot later on. So I'm thinking of Google Classroom for my learning management system, Zoom, 5 minute, 10 minute Zoom for synchronous, then a screencast to record my lecture. Then I put Padlet, yeah, to post their writing. Then I have Pro Writing Aid, Overwrite, and Paper Rater. That's artificial intelligence to help me or to help the students working with their grammar. If you are not familiar with those, it's similar to Grammarly, but you can try. Which is not the same as Paper Rater. Paper Rater will give mark to the students. They will grade the students' paper. Yeah, so go to paperrater.com and explore it later on your own. Yeah. If you want to join my class, this is a dummy class that I usually give to people here in a Google Classroom. This is the class code. Maybe you can take the picture, or later you can click join here. I'm going to go give you some overview. Putini, do I have much time, or how many more minutes do I have? 10, 20, 1 hour?
We have 22 minutes.
22 minutes, so we've got time. Yeah, I'm going to give you a tour a little bit, so that's clearer about the learning types that I'm using here. Okay. Hopefully my connection is okay. Maybe it's going to be quicker if I go to Google like that, then click, then I go to Classroom. Why does it want to go to Classroom? Why? Oh, okay. I have to be patient actually with the connection. Okay, while they are waiting, I'm continuing. Yeah, this is an advice. I'm going to finish my or end my presentation. You do not need to renovate your entire course to create a blended learning, so you don't have to start something new. Just adapt what you already designed for face-to-face. Then choose the tools that require least amount of technical know-how. Meaning, if you have problem with apps, make sure that you know how first. Ya, jangan coba-coba pakai apps terus tiba-tiba belum menguasai apps-nya, terus main-main dengan students gitu. Nanti biasanya panic.com judulnya. Ya, on along the way on that. This is if you want to access my presentation, then you go to bit.ly/jati-ulm. Ya, mungkin di foto dulu boleh. Nanti kalau sudah selesai bisa diakses lagi. If you are interested in talking about technology, you can join the Telegram group. Masuk Telegram, ya, bit.ly/masuk Telegram, then you'll be connected to our ICELLA Telegram. Then you can join the discussion, or bit.ly/Telegram ICELLA. If you want a free books about technology in Bahasa Indonesia, then you can go to bit.ly/ICELLA-book-1. It's free in a Google Play, and then you can download it. Yeah, this is ICELLA books series 1. Okay, let me check the connection. Oh, the connection, I have a very good connection. So I think I cannot connect to my Google Class. Oh, okay. Because of the JavaScript. Just a second. Okay, so try this. This is my class for my activities. So you have synchronous paragraph review. If you click that, then this is Zoom meeting. Yeah, that's will take a very short time on that. So this is something wrong with the paragraph view. It's not should be a review first. Just a second. Yeah. Then go to synchronous. This is asynchronous practice paragraph here. So I'm using Google Drive here. I give using Padlet. So the technology that I'm using, it's not sophisticated or complex technology that I'm familiar with. The most important one is the way you break down the activities. Yeah, the breakdown of the activities, introduction of paragraph that's synchronous, then read words, read and write, and then check. So this is a little bit of acquisition, a little bit of acquisition by reading, so watching, reading, and then they do practice, then they publish. Yeah. So again here with Padlet, and then with the Google Drive to work with the students. Yeah. So you can have a look at this later when you access my slide. This is just an example how I plan my writing class, but this is not the whole class. This is only about paragraph. Yeah, how I introduce paragraph to my undergraduate students, non-English department. Yeah. Thank you very much. Then back to you, Ibu Dini, if there are some questions.
Thank you very much, Pak Dr. Gumawang Jati, for all of the presentation. Well, it was a very enlightening presentation, and it is very interesting to see how blended learning, which is a learner-centered approach, is currently emerged and now rapidly developing. Now, I would like to proceed to the question and answer session. I would like to invite all of the participants to ask the questions by writing it down in the Q&A box. And then we have few questions came in, so we would like to go on to the first question from Ibu Nimadirat Meningsih from Undiksa. The question is, what might be the relevant application used for the students who are taking micro-teaching class? Perhaps you would like to answer the first question first, Pak Gumawang.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, Ibu Ratna Ningsih. I think it's from Undiksa, I think. For micro-teaching, introducing apps, try to introduce the general apps like Padlet, not complicated one. The problem with micro-teaching students that I encounter with, or that I talk to them with, it's not the apps. They are not sure how to slice the lesson. So it's not about the apps, but how they slice the lesson, become a bite size. Then when they say, I'm going to teach, for example, speaking, then you have to ask what level, what they want to practice, what the objective, and so on. Yeah, if that's for SMP, for example, and they want the student to practice to introduce themselves only, then you can introduce apps like Vocaroo, for example. Yeah, or Voice Spice will do. Or maybe very simple one, record your voice in the mobile phone and send it to WhatsApp group. Yeah, that will do, you know. So not necessarily introducing complicated apps. Yeah, that's my point. The students later on, they will explore on their own about apps if they are curious. So challenge them with simple, low bandwidth, available apps around them. Sepertinya begitu, Ibu. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much for the answer. Now, I would like to go on to the second question. Actually, it is related with Pak Gumawang's explanation previously. So the question is from Ibu Agustina Lestari from STKIP PGRI Banjarmasin. What application would you suggest for speaking classes? Yes, Bapak, the time is yours.
Yeah, thank you. it's always difficult for me to answer a speaking class. It depends on, again, the objective. If the objective is to have a presentation, for example, then the apps is Zoom, record your presentation and present it to your friend, and then you post it in Padlet. If the objective is for pronunciation, then I will suggest ELSA. ELSA, that's application in a mobile phone. It's free. Yeah. So use ELSA, and that's for pronunciation. If the objective is so that they feel confident about telling stories about their life, maybe Voice Spice will do. Yeah. Or maybe Padlet, if that's available, like quite high, because in Padlet you can record your voice. Yeah, and the student can just click and then record their voice, and then the voice will be automatically posted in Padlet. Then you can listen, you can get comment, and so on and so on. So again, a lot of apps available, and think of the objective. Yeah, that's the way we should think, actually. Back to you, Ibu Dini. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much for the answer. Now, we would like to proceed to the next question. The question is how to promote the students' autonomous learning using blended learning.
How to promote? Very good. How to promote autonomous learning? Depends on the course. But I can give you an example. In my class, with a writing class, I give them a lot of tools to work with using AI, artificial intelligence. Yeah, so I don't teach grammar in my writing class. I'm teaching writing. So the grammar, they should work with AIs. Yeah. If you are teaching reading, for example, so that the student will be autonomous, give them AI like ReadLang. Yeah, go to readlang.com, then they might help you with the vocabulary, help the student with vocabulary, making list of flashcards, and so on and so on. Yeah, give them tools so that they can work on their own. Jadi tidak usah semuanya disuapin dalam blended learning. That's to encourage the autonomous. Yeah. Thank you, Ibu Dini.
Okay, thank you very much. We would like to invite more participants to ask questions. But if there is no other question, we would like to end the question and answer session for the first plenary session. Now, to sum up, sorry, we have one last question coming from Dr. Ramli from UBT. What about teaching students with linguistic course, which discuss more about theories? Do you have any ideas to create interesting class using appropriate platform? Yes, Bapak. The last question for our session.
Thank you very much. It's always a challenge when you are teaching not skills. You are teaching a content. The platform for teaching content it's quite challenging. Should be my advice. You should have a back channel. I mean, you should have a like Telegram group or WhatsApp group to follow up the materials that you put in the learning management system, because that's a concept. Make sure that everyone understand. That's for acquisition. Exercises is the same. You can practice that, but to make sure that the students understand, then a friend of mine gave me a lot of suggestions at ITB. When they teaching concept, they discuss a lot outside the learning management system. They have a group of WhatsApp group, or they have a Telegram group to discuss after each session. Memang berat bagi yang mengajar content. Yeah, if you just put in the learning management system, some student will read it, some student maybe will watch, maybe not. you have to make sure, and then you have to ask that using other platform. If you ask in the group, in the forum, the student will not respond. That's experience from my friend that they said to me when they teaching math or they teaching basic physics or something like that. Yeah, hopefully that's help, but I cannot have the fixed answer for that. Yeah, but the key word is create another group outside the learning management system in a less formal situation or environment. Yeah.
I see.
Back to
So
you.
in teaching theories, surely the teacher's participation in synchronous learning is very needed, ya, Pak, ya?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So I think that was all for the question and answer session. I would like to sum up what we have for the first plenary session today. Blended learning is a combination of online and offline learning, which may use technologies, depend on the needs of teaching and learning process. It surely has some challenges to face, for example, like internet connection, students' awareness to active participation, and etc. Thus, it is highly considered to design blended learning based on the students' learning objectives, learning types, and various appropriate learning applications, as we have seen in the presentation. I would like to thank our first panel speaker today for a very insightful discussion this morning. And also thank you to all participants for the attention and participation. To continue the agenda, I would like to invite our MC, Mrs. Raisa Padilla, to lead the next agenda. The time is yours.
Thank you very much, Ms. Dini, for leading the session. Ladies and gentlemen, now we would like to proceed to the next agenda, the presentation from the second invited speaker, Professor Dr. Johan, MSI. To lead this session, please welcome Mr. Sumasno, MSN, as the moderator.